Alright, it is against the odds time, everyone. This week, in the most against the odds thing ever to happen on the series, Legacy Stasis actually won the voting. Yeah, I don't think we can keep all lands and 2 meditates. This is a little better, because we get to suspend visions on turn 1. And Forsaken City is basically a 1-card combo with Stasis, if we ever resolve a Stasis. Ponder. Alright, our visions ticks down, play the Volcanic, ship the turn. Opponent is going to pass back. Visions ticks down again, another Volcanic. We'll wait on playing this Forsaken City. It's only really good with Stasis. Brainstorm. Gitaxian Probe, while our opponent's going to see Counterspell plus Force of Will plus blue card. Ball Therapy. Yeah, I think we should Counterspell that. And Preordain. Well, our opponent is doing a lot of setup. Ooh, well, or maybe we just draw Stasis. Well, let's play Stasis. Do you have Force of Will on blue card? And then we'll play the Forsaken City. So Stasis, players skip their untap step. At the beginning of our upkeep, we have to pay 1 or we sacrifice the Stasis. And Forsaken City doesn't untap, but at the beginning of our upkeep, we can exile a card from our hand, and if we do, we untap Forsaken City. So as long as we have a card in our hand, we can always untap Forsaken City. So we start by drawing 3 from Ancestral, assuming it resolves. Ooh, there's a Ralzeric too. Oh, we're so close. Forsaken City, we aren't going to exile because it's already untapped. Stasis, we need to pay a blue, draw for our turn. So there is Meditate. Well, let's play this island, pass the turn. Opponent is going to probe. So I think what we're going to do is, let's use our Forsaken City to pay for the Stasis. I guess we can exile this Fire Ice now to untap Forsaken City. Ooh, and there's a Jace. Play the island, pass the turn. Now we have the ability to meditate. Let's meditate right now. My opponent only has 1 mana. Alright, we get a bunch of action. We're going to skip our next turn. We do have Force of Will on defense. Opponent goes with Cabal Therapy. Alright, they can take our Force of Will. If they can go off from this situation, then good for them. It seems like it should be hard. They do have an extra turn, so if they get to keep making their land drops, maybe. There's Lotus Petal. LED. They might have this. Cracks the Misty for a Volcanic. Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Are we dead? Infernal Tutor. Cracks the LED. I'm assuming this is for Past in Flames, which probably means we're dead. Past in Flames. 1, 2, 3, yeah, they got there. Oh, that second Cabal Therapy got through our lock. So we basically just want any counters we can possibly bring in. So maybe we cut a couple Stasises. Are we going to bring in Pyroblasts? The Chromoxes actually get a lot worse without being on the Winter Orb Stasis plan. Alright, we're just going full out Counterspell mode. We'll leave in a couple Stasises just in case, but basically, we just want to be the control deck. But we do have the Ancestral and a Pyroblast. I don't think Storm is one of our better matchups. Cabal Therapy probably takes Pyroblast, but maybe it takes the Meditates. Yeah, it takes Meditate. Jace. Well, we're going to play Forsaken City just in case we need to Pyroblast something. Got 2 for 1 by Cabal Therapy. Don't have any actual counters in our hand. Well, alright, we'll play the island, since our opponent knows about it. Next turn we could technically play the Jace, but the scary part is our opponent could randomly just go off, and then we're in trouble. They're probably going to try to go off next turn before the Ancestral comes down. Spell Pierce is not bad. Spell Pierce helps. I don't think we're going to play the Jace because of the Spell Pierce. And Flooded Strand can actually get a Volcanic. Alright, Ancestral comes down, helps us refill our hand. More Pyroblast and a Ralzeric. There's a Stasis. Crack these, get a couple Volcanics. Play the Ralzeric. Resolves. So we can tap one of our opponent's lands. Untap one of our lands. Alright, so now we actually have the Stasis Hardlock, assuming we can get it down. And we still have 2 counter spells to try to fight through whatever our opponent's going to do. Or our opponent's going to pass back. No exile. Another Spell Pierce. Well, now we clearly play this Stasis, tap one of our opponent's land, untap one of our lands. So this is the lock we're trying to get down. With Rowl's Eric, we can tap one of our opponent's lands every turn and untap one of ours, so we can infinitely Stasis. And we're not too far away from ultimating. So no exile, Stasis, pay a blue, keep it around, tap Underground Sea, untap an island. And then we're just going to pass. We're going to leave up our counter spells. I don't think there's any reason at this point to rush into a Jace. We're in such a strong position. Opponent's going to pass back, cracking a fetch. So our opponent's going to try to do something. Alright, this time I think we're going to use the Forsaken... no exile. I was going to use the Forsaken City to pay, but it doesn't really matter. Pluto Delta. Now we get to tap, drop, untap, island. And we'll just pass again here. Pretty soon we'll get down this Jace, and then it's only a matter of time till we win. And we'll let him brainstorm. Maybe it was better just to Spell Pierce that. Lotus Petal. Alright. Dark Ritual. Alright, let's Spell Pierce Dark Ritual. Opponent pays 2. Then we will Spell Pierce the Dark Ritual. And that does it. Sweet. Stasis and Ral getting it done. Alright, game 3. Let's see if we can actually win this match against Storm. Well, we got the Ancestral. So Island, suspend Ancestral. Brainstorm for our opponent. Did they find a land? Oh, man. Well, now we have a lot of time, I think, since they didn't apparently find a land. And the Spell Pierce is good. That's going to make it much harder for our opponent to hit us with Cabal Therapy. Well, there's a land. Odd. Another Spell Snare. Spell Snare isn't great in this matchup, but it's not horrible. There are a couple things that it hits. Having both of our Forsaken Cities is a little awkward, but we'll keep playing them. Our opponent got another land. Still no black mana, though, so no therapy yet. Resolve our Ancestral. And Brainstorm. Do we want to Brainstorm here? Yeah, let's Brainstorm. No fetch. So what are we putting back? Let's put back Meditate and Island. Then we can play this Volcanic. Then we can suspend another Visions and just pass the turn. I guess Pyroblast is the worst of those. Our opponent got another land. What is their plan now? We'll just let Duress go. I don't think our opponent can beat this hand. Double Force, double Spell Pierce, double Spell Snare. I don't think that's what a Storm deck wants to see across the table. Oh, they take the Brainstorm, okay. There's an island. So our opponent does know our hand, but we still have a ton of interaction. We're going to draw this Meditate, and this comes down in 2 turns. Alright, let's just pass. We're not going to Meditate yet. Another land for our opponent. Hitting a Stasis actually wouldn't be too... Oh, another Force. Alright, I guess we're just going to pass and pitch Meditate, since we're going to draw 3 off Ancestral next turn anyway. And we definitely want to defend ourselves against a Cabal Therapy on Force of Will. So we will spend cards for that if we need to. Pyroblast, Counterspell land. Oh my god. We haven't found any Planeswalkers yet. Polluted Delta. Guess we'll just play Polluted Delta. We have 10 cards in hand, so we're going to have to start discarding. I guess we're going to have to discard Island, Pyroblast, Spell Snare. Thwart, another counterspell. Alright, let's pass. I think we pitch the... I guess we pitch a Pierce here. Our opponent's kind of getting a lot of mana down. Thwart's a pretty sweet gotcha card. No one expects the Thwart. It's basically like a Force of Will, except instead of exiling a blue card and paying a life, you have to return 3 islands to your hand. Blue to Delta. Drawing lands actually isn't bad here. It's better than drawing and discarding more counterspells. Our opponent's going to need a crazy run of draws to beat this hand. And the... another Force of Will. That's actually a little scary. If our opponent somehow could therapy all of our Force of Wills. Alright, we'll let Brainstorm go. 4 forces, a Thwart, a Spell Pierce, and a Counterspell. Well, until they get us to discard some of these cards, I don't know how they beat this hand. They're going to need multiple Cabal Therapies. Sure, you can Duress. Our opponent LOL'd at our hand. Oh my god. Alright, let's draw some actual action spells. Flusterstorm. Oh, we're drawing every counterspell in our deck. I really don't want to crack these fetches for no value just to thin our deck. That seems bad. Can we Meditate? Draw? I don't think we can. I think we gotta discard it. I don't think we can skip our turn, even though our opponent's doing nothing. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but it doesn't feel like we can skip our turn. We just want to get a Jace or something. We have plenty of mana, where if we ever draw a Planeswalker, we can play it and still leave up a ton of counters. Well, suspend another Ancestral. 4 turns from now, maybe we will draw something. Still really... yeah, there's Cabal Therapy. I guess we gotta crack these polluted deltas. Get a Volcanic. We're just gonna hard cast a Force here. We kind of don't mind getting a Force out of our hand because we don't want to get them all Cabal Therapied. So using them in that situation seems alright. Stasis. I don't think Stasis even does anything at the moment. We gotta wait till we get a Rouse Eric down or something before we Stasis, I think. Good news is our opponent is almost to the point of discarding too. There's a Rouse Eric. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rouse Eric. Then we get to tap Volcanic, untap one of our lands, and then we will run the Stasis out there. And hope we can defend ourselves with Triple Force, Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce, and Thwart. Thwart is sweet with Stasis because it lets us pick up these tap lands that won't untap. I think we're just going to pay with Volcanic here. Well, alright, Forsaken City. So now we will tap a Underground Sea, untap a Volcanic. We might be getting there thanks to our opponent drawing an ungodly amount of lands. Our opponent seems to think they have drawn like every land in their deck, and they probably have. We could have fought over that bounce spell on our Stasis, but I don't think it's worth it. What do we do here? Do we let LED resolve? Yeah, they have so much mana, I don't think it matters. Lotus Petal, and we have Flusterstorm, which they don't know about. Ritual, sure. I mean, you have a million mana. What's 3 more? Cabal Ritual, also sure. Infernal Tutor. Alright, well, now we just counter that. So we will thwart returning 3 islands. And that should be the game. Our opponent's empty-handed. Past in Flames. So we will exile the Spell Pierce, which is pretty bad. And that should do it. Alright, and we're actually going to get to draw with Ancestral Visions, I believe. No, another Row. So no exiling. I don't think our opponent has a way they can win now, but we get to play an island, play a Stasis, tap land, untap one of our lands, Chrome Mox, exiling a second Row, which just doesn't do anything. And then we'll just pass. We might meditate this coming turn. We skip a turn, but I don't think it matters. Alright, sweet. Well, we got there in round 1 against Storm. Alright, against odds, Legacy, Stasis. So we'll just go Volcanic, Ancestral, pass the turn. And depending on what our opponent's doing, we might be able to get down a quick Jace off the Chrome Mox. And, in fact, well, we drew a counterspell, which is not nothing. I think we actually need to play this Chrome Mox, exiling Meditate, so that way we can counter and pay for a daze. Inkmoth, Noble Hierarch, do we want to counter that? Yeah, let's counter Noble Hierarch. Invigorate, 5 poison. Does our opponent have a counter? Spell Pierce. Do we just slam Jace? I don't think so. I think we gotta wait, hope we draw another land, and hope we can somehow defend ourselves with Spell Pierce. Hierarch. Take 2 poison. Up to 7. Cracks the Wooded Foothills. And a Blighted Agent. Well, now what we have to do is crack this Polluted Delta. Another Volcanic, I guess, is fine. Play Jace. Bounce the Blighted Agent. And just hope that we live. So, unless they have a pump spell, this attack isn't just lethal. But if they do have a pump spell, then we're dead. Oh, they're going after Jace? Alright. Well, we can deal with that. Because we get 2 Ancestral. Oh, Force. Alright, I guess we just gotta pass again and hope we stay alive. Force was daggers. We even drew the Stasis. If we had resolved that Visions, we probably would have won. Sylvan Library. Well, we get to Stasis. Do they have another Force? Alright, now we're actually okay because we have 2 cards in our hand, so we can, for the time being, keep exiling 1. Problem is, another Inkmoth is bad. Another Infect creature is also bad. Unless we can draw into a Ral, I guess? Opponent's gonna draw 2 extra cards with Sylvan Library. Finds a Forest. Do they have an Infect creature? Another Glistener Elf. Alright, so we're gonna need to draw an answer this turn. So, Let's pay for Stasis with Forsaken City. Then we're going to untap Forsaken City, exiling Spell Pierce. Well, I guess we need to try to resolve this Meditate. And our opponent has the daze. Alright. I guess Pithing Needle answers Inkmoth. Pyroblast isn't bad. I don't think we want Winter Orb. Maybe get rid of Thwart. It's pretty slow. And a Meditate for a Pyroblast and a Pyroblast. Well, that's not the worst hand. Turn 1 Pithing Needle. Set it on Inkmoth. Drop into Hierarch. I think we're just going to Flooded Strand and pass for now. Our opponent didn't have turn 1 Infect creature, so they probably have Blighted Agent. And we want to Spell Snare Blighted Agent and leave up mana to pay for days. So this makes our opponent have Force if they're going to answer it. Force, pitching Force. Do we want to Brainstorm now? The only thing that would do is if we hit a Force, we could cast it. I think we got to let it go and Brainstorm next turn and see if we can find a Pyroblast. Or Stasis isn't bad. So let's Brainstorm. Double Meditate, Island, and a Meditate. And then we'll crack Flooded Strand, get a Volcanic, play Polluted Delta, Brainstorm again. There's a Pyroblast and a Force. So how are we going to do this? If our opponent goes big on the Blighted Agent, we'll kill it, or try to. If they don't, then we'll just pass. Our opponent's going to Brainstorm. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. Invigorate. Alright. Let Invigorate go. Invigorate. Alright, so here is where we need to crack our Polluted Delta, get a Volcanic, Pyroblast the Blighted Agent. Alright, sweet. Or more card draw would be fine. So we shuffled, but drew a Chrome Mox anyway. Pretty much just can't let our opponent resolve an Infect creature at this point. I guess we'll play Forsaken City. That lets us hardcast the Force if we want to. And we're going to have plenty of cards to shuffle away if we ever draw a Brainstorm. I think we would just fire off a Meditate if we drew one. Counterspell's not bad. We are going to need to draw something in the next 19 turns or so we don't die to this Noble Hierarch. That would be an embarrassing way to die against Infect. Do we even play Stasis here? I don't think we do yet. It doesn't do that much for us, honestly, in this position. We just want a nice full hand before we get to that point. Maybe get an Ancestral suspended or something along those lines. We will keep playing lands, though. Yep, Wasteland, Forsaken City. Ooh, Corrosive Grip, the Pithing Needle. That's actually pretty bad for us. Now they get to start attacking with the Inkmoth. Brainstorm. Another Brainstorm. Let's counterspell that one. Here comes Inkmoth Beats. Forces help, but we really need to find a Planeswalker. That is the bottom line. If we find a Jace, we should be able to use it to find a Ral. We could play Stasis just to slow down the game temporarily. Is that worth it? Yeah, let's do it. We have a second one, so playing one isn't horrible. Or our opponent's going to force it? Alright, we got the Force out of their hand. Come on, Planeswalker. So we're taking 2 Infect a turn. If things ever get too sketchy, we will play another Stasis. Opponent's going to try to become Immense. We are going to force exiling Spell Pierce. Another Spell Pierce. Run out the second Stasis. Keeps us from taking Inkmoth Beats for a couple turns at least while we're waiting to draw something. Fire Ice. So we probably wait a couple turns, then let the Stasis go, and try to fire an Ice to get rid of the Inkmoth. Elvish Spirit Guide into Blighted Agent. Alright, let's pass, see what we draw. Pay for Stasis. Draw an Island. Play Chrome Mox, pitching Spell Pierce. And just pass the turn. We could also draw a Tabernacle, which would get rid of all the creatures. Oh, there's a Pyroblast. That's not bad. Alright, let's just pass. Alright, let's just Pyroblast Blighted Agent. Opponent's going to Brainstorm. Alright, Brainstorm resolves. Let it go. Draw a Volcanic, which isn't bad. Still could really use a Planeswalker. Or even another blue card at this point would let us kill the Inkmoth with Force backup. There's the Inkmoth. We take 2 Infect. Glistener Elf. Pretty scary. And a Blighted Agent, but that's alright. We just gotta let it go for now. Hopefully our opponent doesn't draw into a counter. Flooded Strand. Alright, play Flooded Strand. Now we can actually hardcast the Force too. Alright, so now we need to fire to kill Blighted Agent and the Elf. The Ink Moth is still out there though. There's a Row, but is it too late? We get to play the Row, and then we shoot down Noble Hierarch. Now if we can draw into our third Stasis, or like a Meditate to find a Stasis or something, then we get to win the game. And we do technically have a Force of Will if our opponent tries to throw a pump spell at this Ink Moth. But they could have a Daze or something. They go after us. Alright, we take 1 poison. Stasis? Tabernacle. Doesn't do anything. Yeah, just tap and untap. We're on a short clock. We need a Meditate, or a Brainstorm, or a Stasis, or a Jace would be fine. Oh, Hierarch. Well, we're going to need it next turn. Next turn or bust. There's a Berserk. We will force it to stay alive. Go to 9 poison. Come on, we're going to crack this Flooded Strand. Thin our deck. Get an island. Come on, come on, come on. Meditate. Come on, draw us into something. Stasis? Ah, we got there! And a Jace. Now I think we can win. Whew! Alright, we get to play Tabernacle, play Stasis. Oh my gosh, we drew it right at the perfect time. Then we get to tap Trop, untap Island. And now we will just... do we want to suspend Ancestral? Let's just pass. Leave up counter spell. Our opponent's got to sack their Hierarch, or tap it at least. Or sack the Wooded Foothills. Oh man, Meditate at the perfect time. We skip our next turn, but it doesn't matter. Opponent passes back. So now we got the hard lock in. Whoo! Pay 1 for Stasis. Then we can tap Wooded Foothills, untap an island. And now we will play this Jace. And that does it! Whoo! Man, I can't believe we won that match, or that game. So far, both of our matchups, or both of our matches have been against fairly bad matchups. So we basically got to hope our opponents on the Ink Moth plan. I think we need to suspend Ancestral turn 1. Yeah, Ghost Quarter's not too scary. Oh, they have Blighted Agent though? Alright, Blighted Agent's bad. We still have Spell Pierce, so that's something. Ooh, and a Force, that helps. So let's Pithing Needle. If they want to force this now, that's alright. Pithing Needle on Ink Moth, Flooded Strand. So now we have Spell Pierce plus Force, and hopefully we draw land to get Ral down and kill Blighted Agent. Ooh, another Blighted Agent? Ponder. Okay, Ponder's fine. Opponent shuffles. Good sign they didn't find anything they wanted. Probe to take a peek at our hand. Ancestral Visions is still a ways off. So we're going to be taking 4 poison a turn just from what's on the board. That is scary. This might be just a bit too slow. I don't think we can force the Hierarch there, though. Could also draw a Pyroblast would be sweet. Jace. Alright, gotta pass. Brainstorms. Invigorate. Well, we gotta force the Invigorate just to stay alive. And our opponent can force back. Alright. That's what Infect does. Well, at least we won one of them. Alright, against odds, Stasis and Legacy. I can't believe I'm saying that. And, well, we got the combo. So, Island, pass the turn. If this is Infect again, I'm gonna cry. Just got another LOL from our opponent. Polluted Delta. Oh, is it Storm? Come on, why can't... Oh, Badlands. That could still be Storm. Cabal there. Oh, God. Oh, God. Well... We can't just let them take our 2 forces with Cabal Therapy. Why can't we ever run into Miracles or Bug or something? Instead, we infinitely run into turn 2 combo decks. Another Stasis. Alright, well at least we can pitch a Stasis to Force now if we have to. Opponent probes again. Seriously? Oh my god. Oh, we've spent 4 cards countering Cabal Therapies. I think we're going to ice that Badlands on upkeep. Oh, this is Reanimator. Good god. Well, I guess we're going to try to ice that underground sea on upkeep. Oh, brainstorm. We could brainstorm into a force. It is possible. Or our opponent doesn't have a reanimate spell? I don't think we can play stasis here. Let's brainstorm. Ooh, we did find a force and a meditate. Well, let's put the two stasises back on top for now and suspend ancestral past the turn. At least we sort of have a chance to defend ourselves, although it scoops to every counter. But if our opponent just has nothing, are we crazy enough to meditate and skip our next turn? Well, let's pass and see what our opponent does. It's an instant, so we can always draw 4 on their turn. If they pass and do nothing, then we might. Lotus Petal, okay. Lotus Petal. Are they going to storm us? Dark Ritual. They're going to hardcast something? They're going to hardcast a Grizzlebrand, aren't they? Infernal Tutor. What the hell is going on? Is this is Storm with Grizzlebrand? What is happening? Well, I guess we're supposed to meditate and then force pitching a stasis. Alright, so hopefully our opponent just doesn't draw a reanimation spell right here. Oh no! Oh. Jeez, we got exactly where we wanted to be and our opponent drew it. Ugh. Well, I don't think there's any way we win now. Our opponent gets to draw 14. Seems unlikely. Man, that is really depressing, because we got this game exactly where we wanted it to be, and then our opponent happened to draw the perfect set of cards. Tombs, Shallow Grave again, goes down to 5. They get to gain all their life back and draw a bunch more cards. Brainstorms, we should probably just scoop, but I guess we will let it go. Oh, that is so frustrating. We were... Oh, we pulled it off perfectly. And our opponent peeled a 1 in 4 shot. Yeah, they gain all their life back, get to draw the rest of their deck, and then we lose. Alright, Flusterstorms, Spell Pierces, Spell Snares. Stasis isn't that great. Winter Orb is definitely not that great. Fire and Ice, go down a Ral, go down a Stasis. So now basically we still have the Stasis lock, but we're basically a control deck. Alright, I guess we keep. Question is, do we suspend... Yeah, I think we gotta suspend Ancestral. So this is probably probe into Cabal Therapy, make us discard Force, is what I'm guessing is no discard? Okay, that's good. Well, 1 land is bad, but that's alright. At least we have Spell Pierce plus Force now. That helps. Meditate, not good yet. Dark Ritual, okay. Dark Ritual. Cabal Therapy, I guess we force pitching a Jace? Probably not going to matter, though. Unmask. Exiling a Shallow Grave, so I must have 2 Shallow Graves and an Entomb. Cracks both the lands. Burning Wish. What sorcery are they searching for? Oh, empty. Good God. That is a lot of goblins. How long till this comes off? And they flashback Cabal Therapy to take our Stasis? Jeez. Oh god. Well, we're gonna need some luck. We basically need to hit Stasis and, geez, some way to keep it on the battlefield off of this Ancestral. I guess we can let this go and just counter whatever they draw with it. Or tutor for, rather. Burning Wish. Do we just counter that? Yeah, I guess we probably should. Guess it doesn't matter. Chain of Vapor. Alright, Ancestral. Give us some love. Well, we definitely... 1 card has to be Stasis. Alright. Well, that kind of gives us a redraw. We hit the Stasis. We Chrome Mox, exiling Meditate. And now we have to draw Forbidden City. Off the top this turn. Well, Volcanic, another redraw. Every land we hit is a redraw, because we can keep Stasis alive 1 more turn. Oh, and that does it. Why can't we ever run into someone playing just a normal deck? Running into 100% combo decks, which are obviously our worst matchup. When we play decks that can win on turn 2, or turn 1. Chrome Mox, Probe, Brainstorm. Well, this is the same person we played last time. Unmask. Probably takes our Brainstorm. Yep. Well, let's play Flooded Strand. We need to draw non-lands. Another Brainstorm. Sack it, get a Volcanic. Spell Snare is actually pretty sweet. That stops a Shallow Grave, which is the main way of reanimating a Grizzlebrand. Guess we'll just play another island. Save our fetches if we ever draw Brainstorm. Ooh, alright. Well, I think we will upkeep Fire Ice just to cycle. Tap their Chrome Mox. Another land. Thin the deck a bit more. Get an island. Stasis. We have the Forsaken City. I guess we can? Is it worth it, though? Or do we wait for our opponent to tap out? Let's not do it yet. Let's see if we can draw a Ralzeric or something. If our opponent ever taps out for something, then we can play the Stasis. Our opponent goes with Entomb. Okay. Sure, that's probably hitting a Grizzlebrand. Yep. So if they go to, like, Shallow Grave, we can Spell Snare. Ooh, Force is sweet. Well, let's play Flooded Strand. Thwart's good with Stasis because it lets us refill our entire hand. And we're going to counter that Cabal Therapy. Alright, we are empty-handed. Ooh, Brainstorm, though. Hopefully we'll change that. That's not bad. So we put back Island and Forsaken City. Crack the Flooded Strand. Get an Island. Jace. Brainstorm. There's a Force and a Brainstorm. Play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. Alright, I think we're getting there. Burning Wish. Alright. Well, unfortunately for our opponent, we get to Force of Will this play. Force, pitching Brainstorm. Draw the Ral. Now we can Brainstorm with Jace. There's the Stasis. So we put back Volcanic and Ancestral Vision. Play the Ral. Play the Stasis. Now we get to use Ral to untap our lands, and we have Stasis forever. So we can keep our opponent pretty much locked out of the game. And we will just go to Ultimate this Jace, I think, is our way of winning. Infernal Tutor. They can keep that. Doesn't do anything. Tap. Untap. Guess we might as well suspend this Ancestral Vision. We need to crack this Polluted Delta. Get a Volcanic. Pay for Stasis. Chrome Mox. Alright, let's tap. Untap. We want to untap Basics just in case. Oh my god. Forgot to activate Jace there. Not that it especially matters, but take down Ancestral, Stasis, add blue. We want to make sure we're taking up this Jace, so that's our way to finish this game. Burning Wish. No, you can keep it. Ral, tap and untap. We want to untap Basics, as I was saying, because of Wasteland. Ancestral's got to be coming down soon, next turn. So pay 1 for Stasis, tick up Jace, Polluted Delta. We will bottom that. We don't want to give them lands if we can help it. They could somehow storm off. Alright, Ancestral comes down. We get to draw 3. Lands and Brainstorms. Stasis, pay a blue. Another Stasis. Well, let's tick up Jace, put Swamp to the bottom. Then let's Ultimate Ral here. We won a flip, lost a flip, won a flip, lost a flip, and won a flip. So we get 3 extra turns, which is enough time for us to, well, yeah, we were going to win by ultimating Jace. So against this deck, we want Flusterstorms, Spell Pierces, Spell Snares, maybe Pyroblast. Alright, Badlands go. So we are just going to Island, suspend Ancestral. Well, there's land, but looks like they don't have the rest of the package. And we do like getting that counted down, our Ancestral. So much better on turn 1. And we have had pretty good luck. Do we just counter this Entomb? I guess? We can Flusterstorm, put both copies at the Entomb. Dark Ritual. Do we just need to counter Dark Ritual? It would have to be like Force pitching Meditate. Last time we lost because we didn't counter the Dark Ritual. Lotus Petal. They don't have a Grizzlebrand in the graveyard, though. Exiled an Abrupt Decay. Good to be aware of. They leave the Stasis. Alright, Ancestral counts down. There's a Ral. Do we have to play Stasis here? Does that even do anything? Well, let's play Forsaken City and just pass. Burning Wish. Uh-oh. Therapy. Ooh, they're going to sack the Petal to Therapy and take our Stasis? Yep. Alright, let's see if we can just draw land for Ral. That would be fine. Ancestral, Forsaken City, no. Well, Force is actually a good consolation prize. Now at least we can stop something degenerate. Still wondering if we'll ever play a non-combo deck. Seems like our deck would be awesome against Miracles or something, but we just never seem to run into that matchup. Alright, we draw all lands, but lands are fine. Let's just play a volcanic here. And I think we're going to brainstorm instead of playing Rowell yet. Burning Wish, sure. Gets another Cabal Therapy. Alright, let's brainstorm. Spell Snare, Counterspell. Alright, put back Island and a... doesn't matter. Flooded Strand. Crack Delta. Get a Volcanic. Not exiling. Yeah, let's Polluted Delta. Crack it. Volcanic. Play a Rowell. Untap a Volcanic. Pass the turn. This way we got Counterspell up. And also Force of Will. Opponent probes. Oh, Infernal Tutor. Might as well Spell Snare that, I guess. They're probably going to get another Cabal Therapy. Yeah, just play a land. Pump up Rowell. Eventually we'll get to Ultimate. It's another Infernal Tutor? Well, I guess we keep countering. Tabernacle. I don't even think we want to play it yet. I think we'll just wait. It doesn't add mana, and it's a good gotcha card if our opponent goes on the Storm plan. And we can Ultimate Rowell. Alright. They're going to take our Force. I guess this is their window. Oh. Well, never mind. They're going to target themselves to discard Grizzlebrand. That's fine. Alright, no exile. Spell Pierce. Well, we might as well Ultimate. Lost the flip. Lost the flip. Lost the flip. No! Oh, 1 for 5? That's horrible. Well, the good news is we have another Rowell we can play. Tap, untap. No Unforsaken City. Ooh, there's a Stasis. That does it. Stasis, Tabernacle. We got all the locks now. So, yeah, this is game over. Forsaken City, no exile. Stasis, add 1 blue, pay for it. Get a Brainstorm, tap, untap. I guess we can Brainstorm. Put back Forsaken City and Spell Snare, play Island, pass the turn. And I believe our opponent just disconnected from the game. Not a complete surprise. So, what happens in this situation is we have to wait 10 minutes for our opponent to time out, but technically we will win. And we got there. Took a while, but our opponent eventually timed themselves out. So, Stasis getting it done. Alright, against the odds, Legacy, somehow, Stasis, and... Alright, I guess we can deal with this. So hopefully we're playing a creature matchup where... where this Tabernacle is just awesome. Hopefully we're not playing another turn 2 combo deck. Good God, for once in our friggin' lives... Ugh, another Meditate. For once in our lives, let's avoid Storm and Infect and Instant Speed Reanimator. Okay, Jeskai. Although Stoneforge is kind of bad. What do we do here? We don't have a way to kill that Stoneforge. So I guess we Tabernacle, make our opponent pay 1 for the Stoneforge if they want to keep it alive. And then we can Chain of Vapor the Stoneforge. Alright, temporary fix, but a fix. But it also gives us a chance to draw a land and be able to just Stasis. And our opponent has to discard. We probably got to jam the Stasis regardless, even though it's not a long-term fix. Oh. Oh, man. Alright. Well, I guess we got to try to fire the Stoneforge. Get an island. The problem is we don't have counter backup, which is scary. Alright, it resolved. Ooh, True Name. Chromox sort of helps. I think that's what we do. Let's Chromox. Exiling Meditate. Then Stasis. Basically, we're trying to set up a way for Stasis plus Tabernacle to kill this True Name. Gets an island. Are they going to Spell Pierce? Brainstorm. And if they find a Force, we can still Spell Pierce. They do find the Force. Well, unless they have another Force, then the Spell Pierce will get rid of the True Name. Alright, so Stasis isn't going to stick around for long, but it does do its job of getting rid of True Name, which was its main purpose. So Stasis down. So our opponent's going to get down a Batterskull. And Batterskull has Vigilance, another True Name. Well, let's Brainstorm. Meditate an Ancestral, then play Flooded Strand. Well, I guess we can suspend this Ancestral. Opponent gets another land. Let's see what they do here. We need to crack Flooded Strand, get a Volcanic, I believe. Tap our Volcanic, thwart by returning 3 islands. We get 1 blue floating, so we can use that in Chrome Mox to pay for a Spell Pierce, Brainstorm. Alright, Thwart works. So we're still taking beats from True Name, but they don't have any equipment on it yet. Ancestral. Ooh, there's a Jace. We're ways away from getting it down, but we can use the Spell Pierce to hopefully keep the Batterskull at bay. Another land. Not even going to try the Batterskull yet. We might lose to this True Name. Another Stoneforge. Ew, that makes things worse. Searches up the Batterskull again. Ancestral. Well, let's replay Volcanic. Now the problem is they're going to be able to get that Batterskull on the True Name. They pay to keep both alive. We take 3 more. Down to 9. Here, let's Brainstorm. Not much. I guess we're not just dead, but we're very close to being just dead. And with Batterskull giving True Name Vigilance, then we probably are just dead. So you can put in the Batterskull. Pay 3. Yeah, we're just a little slow on this one. And Brainstorms. Yeah, we're just going to scoop it up. Can bring in this Shackles. Bell Snare seems good. Go down a Chain of Vapor, a Meditate Chase. Alright, game 2 against Jeskai Stoneblade, and, well, this isn't bad. Normally, I'm not sure how good Force is in this matchup, but we scoop pretty hard to Stoneforge, so I think it's good for us. I think we just gotta pass here and leave up the ability to counterspell plus Force backup, and if not, then we can just Brainstorm. Opponent's gonna Flusterstorm our Brainstorm. Now we need to draw lands. Jace is not a land. Alright, I guess we just keep passing, unfortunately, and hope we draw into lands. Come on, land. Not a land. I'm afraid to even suspend this Ancestral, because if they resolve a creature, it is just so bad for us. Land for our opponent, and Stoneforge. Alright, well, we gotta crack this Delta, get a Volcanic, and counterspell Stoneforge. Looks like our opponent is gonna fight over this. They Pyroblast, we let that go, then we Force of Will, exiling Ancestral Visions, hope that this is good. Alright, now we're back to wanting to draw land. Come on, land. Alright, Forsaken City. Let's Stasis. Oh, now our opponent's gonna Force. Do they have a blue card? Force is pitching a Snapcaster. Alright, hopefully their last card isn't too good. Crocus and True Name. Well, that's bad. Well, let's Forsaken City. Didn't untap. Well, I guess we suspend Ancestral. And oh my god, that is pretty bad for us. Good chance that we lose. I guess we gotta exile this Jace. Force. Well, let's Meditate. Skip our next turn, unfortunately. Man, this went unfortunately wrong. Peeling that Stoneforge was, pretty devastating. Down to 4. So I don't even know what matters here. I don't know what we can really draw. Exile, I guess Ral. Land, alright. Oh, that feels like a good matchup too. Alright, against the odds, Stasis and Legacy. Well, I guess that's somewhat better. We'll keep the Jace, I guess. Kind of depends on what we're up against here. Flooded Strand, cracks it, and top. Alright, Miracles. Well, it would have been nice if we were on the play and able to counter that top, but this is a matchup where Stasis wins us the game. Ooh, Chain of Vapor is interesting. Alright, pass the turn. We might be able to try to play a Planeswalker next turn. Scalding Tarn. Counterbalance. Well, let's Spell Pierce the Counterbalance. Do we want to Chain of Vapor this top? Sack our Pluto Delta, get a Volcanic, since this deck doesn't typically play Wasteland. Chain of Vapor the top, because then we can play, if they crack their fetch, activate top. Oh, they're just going to put it on top of their library. Alright, so hopefully this means we get to play a land, play a Chrome Mox, exiling Ralzeric, and slam a Jace, and put that top to the bottom of our opponent's library. Oh! They had a Force! I did not think they had the Force. I was thinking they would have fought over the counterbalance. Well, now we know. That means they get to replay their top, and they will probably be able to reassemble their combo before too long. I guess we just pass. Volcanic was not the draw we wanted, but I think we have a lot of ways of beating this deck. Well, let's Brainstorm. And our opponent has a counterspell. Alright, can't do anything about that. That is the beauty of the top. Oh, and now our opponent has a Jace. Well, if we don't draw anything good, then I think we're just dead. We don't have a way of getting a Jace off the table. Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna scoop. I don't think we have a way of getting out of this. Not pre-board. Post-board, we get to change things up. Pyroblasts, Pithing Needles, Spell Pierce, Spell Snare, Flusterstorm. We can get rid of Tabernacle, which just does nothing. And we basically want to be the control deck. Get rid of Fire Ice. Get rid of Chain of Vapor, I believe. Let's get rid of Chrome Mox. And maybe only play 2 Spell Snares. Go down to Meditate. And now let's go 2 Spell Pierce. Alright, we don't have a way to stop a top on turn 1, but we do have a way to suspend Ancestral Visions and try to play Winter Orb on turn 2, which is pretty good. Pretty much puts our opponent to the test immediately as far as having a Force of Will. Since they didn't play anything, now I'm not sure. Maybe instead we just Brainstorm here, because our opponent could Spell Pierce the Winter Orb. Land. So we will put Forsaken City and Island back. Play Volcanic. Pass the turn. So we know we're drawing lands the next 2 turns. But basically our goal is to get this Winter Orb down one way or another. Another Brainstorm. So our opponent must be digging for lands, and they did not find them. So they probably shouldn't have kept that hand. I don't know if we can keep this. We'd be leaning really hard on that Brainstorm. Well, that is not significantly better. Maybe we should have kept the 1-land Brainstorm hand. And there's the top for our opponent. Well, there's a Winter Orb. Well, let's Flooded Strand, get a Volcanic, and Ancestral. If we can just randomly resolve Winter Orb next turn, Ponder. If it resolves, it is super good in this matchup. No shuffle. Gets an island. Alright, we'll try it. You got a Spell Pierce? Do you have a Force of Will? Those are the questions. Ooh, or we could Brainstorm. Let's wait and try to Brainstorm. That might draw the opponent out of the counter out of our opponent's hand. So we can Brainstorm right now? Is that what we want to do? Yeah, let's Brainstorm right now. Well, we can get rid of a Ralzeric and get rid of a... Actually, let's put both Rowls on top of our library. We might not shuffle them away. We don't have a way to stop a counterbalance, unfortunately. So if our opponent just goes land counterbalance, we're probably in trouble. Alright, land but no counterbalance. Do you want to draw a Ral? Probably, since we have the Stasis. So we don't want to draw the second one, though. Play Polluted Delta. Sack Polluted Delta. Get another Volcanic Island. And we're going to play this Winter Orb. See if our opponent can counter it. We do have Flusterstorm back up. And this shuts down their lock pretty well. Opponent Brainstorms. That's not bad. That's another copy of Flusterstorm. If our opponent... Yeah, we might have this. Let's see if it resolves. It does. Ooh, that's a big game. I mean, it's unfortunate that our opponent could go land into Jace, but then they're tapped out. Ooh, they go with Monastery Mentor. Interesting. We get to untap a Volcanic, take a counter off Ancestral. Well, at least we get a counter spell. Play Forsaken City, pass the turn. So Counterspell keeps us from just dying to the top lock, and I guess Winter Orb helps in that scenario as well. Opponent does have another land. Attacks with Monastery Mentor. Are they going to try to fight over our Ancestral? Ancestral comes down. What do we draw? Hopefully at least one land. Opponent goes with Red Blast. So I think what we're going to do here is let this resolve, and then use Forsaken City to Flusterstorm. Flusterstorm away the Red Blast. Ancestral Visions, does it resolve now? Opponent is going to spin the top. So they are going... so they're just trying to make a bunch of tokens? Is that the plan? I guess maybe they're looking for a Force of Will? Alright, so now we get to untap Forsaken City by getting rid of what? Maybe the Jace? I think we just go for the lock here. So, yes. So we're going to untap Forsaken City by getting rid of Jace. Then we can crack Polluted Delta, get a Volcanic Island, play an island, and we go with Ralzeric. Then we tap our opponent's land, untap one of our lands, and then we slam a Stasis and hope that they don't have a Force. And, sweet! I think we got the lock. Opponent has Tundra, they can hit our Ralzeric, they make another token, Yep, there's the top. Tax Ral down to 1. But we get to untap our Forsaken City by exiling Spell Pierce, or Counterspell. Then, and we got there! Yes! I thought Miracles would be a good matchup. We just had to run into it. They have a hard time with Stasis and Winter Orb. Sweet! Well, so what did we learn this week? Stasis is actually pretty sweet. And we ran into a string of pretty poor matchups with the turn 2 combo decks that don't really care about Stasis. But even in those matchups, we were competitive. We won one of the matches and won a couple games in other matches. So the fact that we, I guess, just have Force of Will and a bunch of counter spells means that we have game against the all-in combo decks, even when Stasis is bad. And we can always sideboard out our Stasises for even more counter spells, the Pyroblasts and more Spell Pierces and Fluster Storms and so on. So we have some amount of game against those decks. And if you're expecting to play against Miracles or a deck like that, Winter Orb and Stasis are basically just game-winning plays. Obviously, Stasis requires a little build around. You want a way to keep on tapping. But like Miracles doesn't play Wasteland, so the Forsaken City Stasis lock is a hard lock, and it's really hard for them to operate. They're built around spending a ton of mana, activating top multiple times in a turn, and they just can't do that when you are playing Stasis. And Winter Orb is a great plan B. Maybe if you're expecting a lot of Miracles, maybe even put more Winter Orbs in the sideboard, just for those matchups. So as far as the odds, I think we're about 50%, which definitely isn't bad for a relatively untuned against the odds list. And we're playing in Legacy, which is an extremely wide and punishing format. So winning half of the time is a pretty acceptable rate. I am really happy with that. And I think it could be even better. Like, I think that there are some reasons to play Stasis and Winter Orb in Legacy. So I'm excited. I think now that I have actually built this deck, I will probably keep playing it just for fun. And gotta say thank you to all of you for actually voting for a Legacy option. If you followed the Against the Odds series, you know that I've been trying to do a Legacy Against the Odds ever since it started, and we went for months, and Legacy almost always finishes last place. But for some reason this week, Stasis came through. I think maybe it's something to do with the holidays. The audience, all of you, were in a giving mood and decided to finally let me play Stasis. So, so thank you for that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the videos. Stasis is pretty cool, and Legacy is an awesome format. So anyway, check out the website, mtggoldfish.com. You can find the article for this Against the Odds, all my other articles, tons of great content by other people, decks, prices, the metagame strategy, pretty much anything and everything you could want related to Magic the Gathering. And if you enjoyed our Against the Odds Legacy version, which we finally got to do, make sure to click that subscribe button to keep up to date on all the latest and greatest in video content from MTG Goldfish. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I will talk to you soon.